Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. In this video, I'm going to tell you the story of one of my most epic photo ever. Something that totally kind of saved my life. I made over $20,000 with this photo. It made the cover of 2 books. It was really the first photo I was kind of proud of. Just to get back in time, when I started photography, I really struggled a lot the first year. I almost gave up photography. And one day, an incident changed my life forever. I was so not happy with my photography. My photos were really boring. And so one night I decided to go and shoot Paris by night. You know, because usually when I come home from work, I always thought that Paris was kind of mysterious and beautiful at night. So I decided that I'm gonna stay after work and shoot Paris by night all the way up to like 2 o'clock in the morning. And I couldn't get enough of Paris. It was so beautiful. It took me a long time to master how to shoot the city at night, you know, with a tripod to make sure everything is sharp. The next day I went to the agency I used to work with, where there was 3 professional photographers. I went to see Michel. He was like the top photographer. He had worked for Vogue magazine. He was like a big star. Anyway, I ran and I went to see him and I said, look, I shot Paris by night. And I was so proud of my photos and I showed him my work. It was kind of like the first work that I was kind of proud of. And he looked at the photo and he was like, really not happy with it. I was like, what's going on? Come on, it's Paris by night. It's Le Gay Paris. It's beautiful. And he says, yeah, but all your skies are completely dark. It's very contrasty. I don't get it. And he starts showing me photos of like blue hour and golden hour and sunset. And I'm like, yeah, but there was no sunset. There was no golden hour. It was a really bad day. I think there was a blue hour, but that's about it. You mean that I'm supposed to take photo only when there is some good light? And I remember he laughed really hard and he looked at me and he said, Serge, welcome to the world of photography. Boom! This was an epiphany for me. I realized that I needed to shoot at the right time of the day. And my favorite area of Paris is Montmartre. Montmartre is the oldest place of Paris. It's really on the top of the hill where you have the Sacré-Cœur, a beautiful church made of white limestone that you can see from everywhere in Paris. And Montmartre is so beautiful. It is my #1 source of inspiration and of good photos. When I started photography, I came across this book from Brassai. He was a photographer and he shot this photo in 1936 of the stairs of Montmartre. And I was obsessed to get a photo like this of the stairs of Montmartre. And I did some research and I found out that there was one type of stairs in Montmartre that was really heading towards the west, where if you had a good night, you could get a nice sunset. And I went there over and over and so many times, and it was crowded with people. It was so packed, I couldn't even put a tripod down. It was the worst. And finally, one day in the middle of the week, when everybody was at work, one night there was not too much people and it was a nice sunset. And I ran to the stairs. I'm going to walk you through the different photos. I'm going to show you the whole retouching process. I'm going to give you the raw file and I'm going to challenge you to do the same. So let's go to Lightroom. And this is the stairs that I decided to do because these stairs were the only one where you could see a bit of skies. And I started doing like some HDR and I was trying to find like a cool, you know, composition. I didn't really like this one. I tried this one in HDR. So you know how HDR goes. You have one photo which is like over, you know, 2 stops, very bright, very dark, and a normal exposure. And I didn't like that either. I was trying to get some of the skies, and then I sort of moved on the side, and this was kind of better, but it was still not it. There was not that much people. There was a lot of graffiti. I didn't like that, so I moved a little bit on the right side, and I got this 2 shot. This is the normal exposure. This is the underexposure. And I actually ended up retouching the normal exposure. The black and white version of this photo has been selling in over 100 galleries around the world through the Yellow Corner network, and it's been one of my best selling photos. I think that in the last 8 years, I made over $20,000 with this photo. They sell it like at different sizes. It's just been one of my best selling photos. But not only that, it also made the cover of my Lightroom Classic book, which is my latest book on Lightroom. And also this photo was used for the cover of another book called Montmartre from the Grund edition. Anyways, so much success with this photo. I wanted to share it with you. I hope this inspires you to go out and take some photos and persist, because I almost gave up photography about 3 or 4 times. This is one of the photos that I was like, okay, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to persist and I'm going to become a photographer. So this is the raw file. It was shot with a Canon 5D Mark II. Yes, sir. This was shot in 2011 on November the 14th, 2011. And I'm guessing it was during the week. I think it was like a Tuesday night. I'm not even sure. But anyways, there was not much people. And there was a kind of a nice sunset. And I was trying, that's why I did an HDR. I was not sure how to get the best exposure. But thankfully, the raw files are, when they're properly exposed, are pretty good. So what I did on this one is I first opened the shadows to see really what's inside. And then I brought down the highlights, which, made some of the details come back in the sky. Then as usual, it's my natural drama formula, which is in my book, Lightroom Drama Formula. What I do is I do my black point then, where you have, about 1 or 2% of black. By the way, if you want to get the book, if you watch my workshop, the link is under the video. You can also get a copy of this book if you want to, for free. And then I'm going to do my white point. So the white point, I also hold on the Option key and I move to the right until I see something a bit white, and then I come back. I want to make sure I don't have anything too bright. And then what I did is I added some contrast, and I made the photo much darker like this. I really wanted to get like a night ambiance, if you see what I mean. Now, I was really annoyed by all the graffiti, and actually most of the retouching is going to be to get rid of the graffiti. I'm going to show you some really cool tricks. For the white balance, I ended up going for something pretty warm and pretty magenta. Originally, yeah, I love the magenta look, something like that. And then what I did is, before I do my dodge and burn, I'm going to add a bit of contrast to make it really dark. And I started taking out vibrance, a little bit of color, because I thought it was too colorful, although it was a very colorful moment. Now, the photo is very crooked. So good thing in Lightroom, we have this panel, the transform panel. You can click here on auto and boom, I can make it straight. And what I did on this one is I made a very strange cropping, I remember. So I wanted to get this wall like this, so I cropped it about there, and I was trying to get rid of that graffiti, so I cropped it about here. Something like that. That's what I ended up doing. Maybe just like that. Voila. So that was my crop. And then I did some dodge and burning to it. So what is dodge and burning? Dodge and burning is making some part of the photo brighter, some part a little bit darker. So I think what I did also originally, I used one of the, if you click here, you use one of the profile. I use, I think, the neutral or landscape profile of Sony, of Canon actually. Sorry, it's Canon. So when you go here to camera matching, you're using the profile. The profile is what you have in your camera when you can like switch different creative style. Well, that's the profile. They actually give that over to Lightroom so you can use it on your photo also. Just makes, the color pop a little bit. And then, a little more magenta. Actually turned on the vibrance a lot on this one, and I boosted the white to give more contrast. And so what I did for the dodge and burn, first I thought my sky was way too bright. So I went in there and I used a gradient here, voila, to lower the exposure a lot. And it does lower the wall, but I kind of like that. I could have used this trick of this new feature in Lightroom, which is you click here and you go intersect mask with sky. And that way, wait for it, it's going to relight the wall and only make the sky dark. Why not? I could use that, but I think I'm going to do Command Z. I kind of like having the top of the photo dark here too. And then what I did is I went in there and I added a radial gradient here to put even more emphasis on the lights here. So I put a little gradient here, radial gradient, and I added a little bit of yellow and a little bit of exposure. What's going on? It's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to do that only, so I'm going to revert. That's weird. I'm going to invert the mask. Okay, something's wrong. So that's a bug. I'm going to delete mask 2 and I'm going to redo it. So I'm going to go here. That's so funny. It's the first time this happens to me. So radial circle. I'm going to make radial circle, and normally if I just add a bit of exposure, yes, it should only do it here. Okay, so I'm adding a bit of exposure. I don't know what I did wrong. Tell me what I did wrong. Tell me, and then some yellow. Okay, perfect. All right, and now I think I made the photo even darker. Yeah, and even more contrasty, like really contrasting. See, I added a little bit of clarity, yeah. A little bit of clarity, something like, I really like that. And you see how much, look how much color I took out, because night photo tends to be too colorful because of the light pollution. So it's kind of a good idea to take some of the vibrance and even maybe saturation out. At this point, what I did is, I think maybe not that dark. I went into the noise reduction. I looked at because this is a 5D Mark II, which was a pretty noisy camera, but look at the noise level is actually pretty acceptable. So when the noise level is acceptable, I go about 10 on the noise reduction and about 90 on sharpening. The idea is that the amount of sharpening, 90 plus 10 equals 100. And then, very important, I do my masking. The masking is this. Basically, you hold on the Option key and you right click on the masking. And what you see here in black is not going to get sharpened. You don't want to sharpen the sky. So I always put the masking like around the 70. That way, you get a very sharp photo that's kind of smooth there. I think on my mask, you see on the original photo, which is this one, which I clean up a lot. On the original photo, what I did is I really made the sky much more magenta. So let's go here and let's go add a lot of magenta in the sky. Yeah, that's what I did. I added a bit of magenta in the sky. Voila, something like that. Maybe made the gradient a little bit longer, something like that. Okay, cool. Yeah, I really wanted like this really sort of, yeah, maybe a bit darker. And just let's keep on taking a bit of saturation out. Just keep on, because the saturation goes crazy. Okay, now we're gonna have to clean it up in Photoshop, and that's gonna be crazy. I'm gonna show you some really cool trick to do that. So I'm gonna right-click, edit, Photoshop 2023. No way that we can clean that up in Lightroom. So here we are in Photoshop. I'm gonna drag and drop this here so that I'm not working on the original layer. And usually, so what I did there is I first did a big cleanup using the patch tool. So what I did on the patch tool is I selected, for example, this graffiti here, and I drag and dropped it here. And then I did the same thing with that. And then I drag and dropped it here. It does something here, we're there, but don't worry about that. And I first did that for the big stuff, you know, the big stuff. And it just, you know, cleaning up stuff is really like a two-step process. You don't do it in one step. So first you do the big stuff, which is what I'm doing here. So I'm just selecting and drag and dropping on something that's kind of cleaner, okay? And, you know, even if it does something weird, it's kind of cool. So let's do that. Now here it's going to be tricky because if you get closer to something where there's contrast, it's going to make something weird. So, and here, so for that graffiti, I think what I ended up doing is I went in here and I took the spot heating brush tool, made it kind of small, and I followed the drawing. Okay, so now how do we do for anything which is very close to the door? So what I ended up doing is I take the pen tool and I do what's called a protection. So I follow the door here, okay? I follow the door and then I make a big selection like this, big selection, okay? I right click and on the selection, I click make selection 1 pixel. So my selection, which is what you see here with the Martian ant, is gonna be not exactly sharp, it's gonna be 1 pixel feathered, if you see what I mean. Then I'm gonna take the famous stem tool, which is here, and I'm gonna make it small. So a very good trick, any tool in Photoshop, if you hold on the Control in Option and you left click and you go left and right with your mouse, you can make it smaller or bigger. I'm guessing on Windows, let me know in the comments if that's the case, it's Control and Alt. Okay, cool. And then what I do is I hold on the Option key to take this texture and to copy it here. And then I just go all the way down here like this. And because I have a selection, it's protecting the door. Okay, Command D to undo. Look at that, now it's pretty clean. And So on this side, I'm going to use the same trick. I'm going to use the patch tool to do the big stuff. So again, you select and you drag and drop on something that's kind of clean. Okay, so same thing for that. Don't get too close to the door. And I'm going to give you the raw file. I'm going to challenge you to do the same. You can even post it on social media. Just don't sell it, please. The link is under this video. And I'm going to tell you, I'm actually going to challenge you guys to do the same thing. You can do your own version, but to do something nice. And basically what you have to do is just post it on your Instagram, tag me in the photo, post it as a story, and the winner is going to get a signed copy of my Paris and New York book, whichever he wants. I don't know if that's something you're into, but it's a little game. Life is a game. I'm going to challenge you. And so I'm cleaning that. So same thing here. I'm cleaning up some of this dust. You don't have to make it completely clean. You can leave some of the stuff. I mean, this is really bad. And yeah, I want to leave some of the stuff because, I don't want to have a wall that's too clean. Actually, the first time I did it too clean, and that's not good. Okay, I don't like what's above the door. So remember, you take P, you just follow the door here. Okay, and then you make a big selection. Right click, make selection, 1 pixel, S for stem tool. And I'm just going to take this big texture here. I'm going to click it here. Let's get rid of that. And boom, door is clean. Let's do the same thing here. So P to protect the door. Make a big selection outside. You just want the selection to be precise around the door. And then S for stem tool. Make it small. Take this texture and boom. Just go down like this. Voila. Okay, I'm going to refine this. So you can look at it from far. And I'm going to do some other tricks to it to make it even better. But I'm not done. This whole part here, I think I'm going to drag it here. Okay. And you can even, using the stem tool, you can reconstruct the lines that's missing. Something like this. And voila. Yeah, this place is a mess. I'm not gonna lie. Actually, now there's like posters everywhere there. It's really a mess. But my gallery asked me to clean it up. They wanted something. It says, "We'll take your photo if you make it super clean. We want you to erase all the trash and make it really clean. We want to sell a Paris that's magical." So I'm like, yeah. I mean, if only there was a software that could clean up all this mess. If only there was one. So the spot healing brush tool really does most of the heavy lifting, It's pretty cool, especially when there's kind of random textures around. And again, you don't have to do every, cigarette and every stain. You want to leave some. But something like that is pretty cool. Also here, I had something kind of weird. Let's see, if, from the camera movement, the long exposure. Let's see if I can clean it up. And no, it doesn't work. So when that doesn't work, just use the stem tool. Stem tool is always a good value to clean things up. It's actually pretty clean. Voila. And voila, I kind of like that. So look at this before and after. So I'm going to go to File, Close, Save, and we're going to do some final retouching in Lightroom. So once you close the file in Photoshop, it comes back into Lightroom. Boom, as you can see. And, just like magicians don't want people to see things, I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to open the shadows a bit, bring down the highlights. I'm going to crush my blacks, my whites, which is going to add contrast. I'm going to take out saturation. I mean, look how much saturation I've taken out from this photo. It's unbelievable. So much saturation I took out. Maybe make it a bit brighter. And then I'm just going to make that wall a bit darker so that we don't see all the retouching. So I'm just going to make the wall a little bit darker here. Something like that. and then maybe make it a little bit darker here. So what you can do is you just post it as your story on Instagram, and you tag me at @photosurge, and the winner is going to get a signed copy of my latest book on New York or Paris. And also to win, make sure you leave me a comment saying, I have posted a photo on Instagram. I need a comment and that you post a photo on Instagram showing what you did and you tag me in it. I want to see if you're capable of doing this. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in another video.